How's it going? Tuesday afternoon, about 1 o'clock, August 10th, 2021. This episode will focus on my analysis and my opinion of the top 30 hitters of all time, the best hitters of all time. It's my opinion. After I did the top 10 pitchers of all time, that took me about an hour to go through that. I went through the stats and I came up at the top 10. Check out that episode 255. My top 10 greatest pitchers of all time. That was fun doing that. So by popular demand, I should do the top 10 greatest hitters of all time, but that's too hard because there's more hitters than pitchers in the Hall of Fame. So I narrowed it down to 30, and I rank them from 30 to number 1. Before I do that, though, I got to give honorable mention to some of these guys. You can't leave them off. They were great hitters. Paul Molitor. Let's see here. I got a little of this honorable mentions. Paul Molitor. Can't leave him off. 3,300 hits, 306 lifetime. George Brett, 3,100 hits, 305 lifetime. Ken Griffey, 2,700 hits, 284. Mel Ott, 2,800 hits, 304. Goose Goslin, he was a good hitter. 2,700 hits, 316 average. Roberto Clemente, 3,000 hits, 317 average. Frank Frisch, 2,800 hits, 316 average. Jim O'Rourke was pretty good. Let's see, I've got him on here. Oh, man, where are you? Here he is. 2,600 hits, 310. Wade Boggs. Good hitter. Where do I have him? 3,000 hits, 328 average. Rod Carew, 3,000 hits, 328 average. Zach Wheat, 2,800 hits, 317 average. Hugh Duffy, 2,200 hits, 326 average. Lifetime. Medwick, Joe Medwick, 2,400 hits, 324 average. Henny Manuche, 2,500 hits, 330 average. Oh, some of these other guys. Joe Cronin, 301 average. Jim Botley, 310. Oh, let's see. Ed Roosh, 323 average. Kirby Puckett, 318. Some of the other guys were under 300, though. But Larry Walker, 313 average. Didn't play enough games. Chuck Klein, 320 average. Joe Sewell, 312. Billy Herman, 304. Archie Vaughn, 318. Bill Dickey, 313. Hank Greenberg, 313. Didn't play enough. Earl Combs, 325. Mickey Cochran, 320. Frank Baker, 307. Elmer Flick, 313. Hack Wilson, 307. Huey Jennings, 312. Jackie Robinson, 311. Ross Youngs, 322. Chuck Haffey, 317. If I missed any of the guys, those are the honorable mentions. But they didn't make my top 30. So they didn't make the cut, if you want to call it that. Who made the cut? Well, I'll count down from number 30, the greatest hitters of all time. From 30 to about 11. They can be interchangeable, really. I mean, you can put one above the other, below the other. But I'll just go through it, all right, and see what you think. Sam Crawford, number 30. 2,900 hits, 309 average. Jimmy Fox, 2,600 hits, 325 average, number 29. 28, Jake Beckley, 2,900 hits, 308 average. 27, Charlie Gehringer. He was pretty good. 2,800 hits, 320 average. 26, Jesse Burkett, 2,800 hits, 338 average. 25 on the list, Ed Delante, 2,500 hits, 338 average. 24, Willie Keeler, 2,900 hits, 341 average. Oof. 23, Paul Wainer, 3,100 hits, 333 average. 22 on the list, Bill Terry, 2,100 hits, not enough, but 341 average. 21 on the list, Billy Hamilton, 2,100 hits, 344 average. He could have made the top 10, but he didn't have enough hits, 2,100. 20 on the list, Derek Jeter. Sorry, Derek. These other guys ahead of you are not better, but I had to put you somewhere. Derek Jeter, 3,400 hits, 310 average. 19, Carl Yastrzemski. Yaz, 3,400 hits, 285 average. I'd like to have seen 300. 18 on the list, Harry Heilman. What a player he was. 2,600 hits, 342 average. 17 on the list, George Sisler. 2,800 hits, 340 average. Some of these guys should be in the top 10, but my top 10 has a different criteria. 16, Dan Brothers, 2,300 hits, 342 average. 15, Nap Lajoie, 3,200 hits, 338 average. He should be in the top 10, Nap Lajoie, but he's not. Because I don't know why. I had these other guys ahead of him. 14, Eddie Collins, 3,300 hits. So he had more than Lajoie. That's why I got him ahead. 333 average. 13, Cap Hansen. Got to put him in there. 3,400 hits, 334 average. 12, Lou Gehrig. 2,700 hits, didn't break 3,000, but he had a 340 lifetime batting average. I've got him number 12. Number 11, Pete Rose. Sorry, Pete. 4,200 hits, 303 average. I would like to have seen the career average higher, but he played so many games and so many at-bats, and that's why the average is a little lower than some of the other guys who were 340, 330, but they didn't have 15,000 at-bats like Pete. So Pete kept playing and playing and playing. If these other guys kept playing, would they be in the 340s and 330s? I don't know. All right, my top 10. Here's my criteria. As far as the top 10 greatest hitters of all time, in my opinion. What's my criteria? Well, I looked at the hits, I looked at the average, but I also looked at runs scored and RBIs. Because when you're scoring a run, that means you're on base, right? And when you're doing the RBIs, that means you hit somebody to get in, whether sacrifice fly or a hit to get the RBI. Number 10 on my list, greatest hitters of all time. I got Tony Gwynn, number 10. Now, he was one of the third fastest to 3,000 hits. I like Gwynn's 3,141 hits, 3,141 hits. I love the average, 338 lifetime, and he batted 300 or better 19 out of 20 years. I like that. He was a little low on the runs, 1,300 runs, and a little low on the RBIs, 1,100. That's why I've got him another 10, because these other guys, they scored more runs and they had more RBIs. Are they a better hitter if they score more and they get more RBIs? Or is the average is that the determination? I don't know. But I got Gwynn, number 10. He cracks the 10, top 10. Number 9, I got Willie Mays. You may argue with me on that one. But I got him number 9. Why? Well, 3,200 hits. Very good. 2,000 runs. Very good. And 1,900 RBIs. Very good. So he was driving in people and he was on base and he got the hits. And just the average put him in the 9th spot. 302 lifetime. See, the other guys are ahead of him as far as batting average. He's ahead of them in home runs and he's ahead in RBIs in some of them, but not on hits. So Willie Mays, you're in the 9th spot. You made the top 10 as far as the greatest hitters of all time. Number 8. All right, let's see here. Who did I put number 8? Honus Wagner. I've got him ahead of Gwynn and Mays for 2 reasons. One, Wagner had more hits than Gwynn. He had more runs scored than Gwynn, and he had more RBIs than Gwynn. He was 11 points shy of Gwynn's average. He's at 328. Gwynn's at 338. But Honus Wagner produced more RBIs, and he has more hits. So I've got Honus Wagner, number 8, as the greatest hitter of all time. 7, I'm going to put Roger Hornsby. Hornsby has less hits than Wagner, less runs than Wagner, and less RBIs, but he's 30 points higher in the average, 358 lifetime. He's number 2. So I had to put Hornsby above Wagner. Also, Hornsby had 400 batting average season, 3 of them. That could be interchangeable. Hornsby and Wagner could be interchangeable. 6 on the list, I got to put Tris Speaker. Why? 3,500 hits. That's more than Mays, Wagner, and Hornsby. He has 1,800 runs. That's less than Mays, but more than Hornsby and Wagner. And he's got 1,500 RBIs, which is less than Mays, same as Hornsby roughly, and less than Wagner. But Speaker beats Wagner and Mays and Gwynn with a 345 lifetime batting average. That's how I determined to put Tris Speaker in the 6th spot. Number 5, Ted Williams. You may argue with me on that one. You say, he's the greatest. Well, he missed 3 years in the military, and that's what really hurt. If he had those 3 years, he may be number 2 or number 1. Really? Probably number 2. But again, Williams and Speaker can be interchangeable here. Why? Williams has less hits. He has 900 less hits than Tris Speaker. But he produced more. See, he had 1,500 runs, and he had 1,800 RBIs, where Speaker only had 1,500. So Williams produced in the RBIs. And Williams is just shy of Speaker in average with 344, where Speaker has 345. I think Speaker and Williams could be interchangeable. But I'll put Ted Williams ahead of Tris Speaker because of more RBIs production, even though he had 900 less hits than Speaker. But Speaker had the extra years while Williams was in the military. 4 on the list, Henry Aaron. You may argue with me on that one because he has more hits than Mays, Speaker, Hornsby, Wagner, and Williams. And he has 2,000 runs and 2,000 RBIs. But I put him number 4 because he's 305 lifetime, which is less than Williams, Wagner, Hornsby, Speaker, and Gwynn. 305 lifetime. Well, he played more games. and he was more of a home run hitter, but he did collect more hits, 3,771. But I've got him number 4 as far as the greatest hitter of all time. Who's in the 3 spot? You may argue with me on this one. I'm going to put Babe Ruth. 2,800 hits. I know. That's less than Wagner, Hornsby, Speaker, and Mays, and Gwynn. But Ruth produced in runs scored 2,000 and an RBIs 2,200, and batting average 342. His 342 beats Gwynn, Wagner, and Mays. He's less than Williams and Speaker and Hornsby, but Ruth produced in the RBIs 2,200 and the runs scored 2,000. If he had played more, he would have had 3,000 hits. But he has 2,800 hits. So I've got Ruth number 3 as one of the greatest hitters of all time. I've got him in another episode. I've got Ruth as the greatest baseball player of all time, all around. But as far as hitting, I've got him number 3. He was a good hitter, but he did strike out. But I like the 342 lifetime batting average on Babe Ruth, don't you? Even though he has less hits, he's got more hits than Williams. That's why he's ahead of Williams. But Wagner, Hornsby, Speaker, Mays, and Gwynn have more hits than Ruth. But Ruth out-dominates on the runs scored and the RBI, and in one category, he beats a couple guys in the average, 342. Gwynn's 338, Mays is 302, Wagner 328. That's why I've got Ruth ahead of Aaron, Williams, Speaker, Hornsby, Wagner, Mays, and Gwynn. Who's number 2 as far as the greatest hitter of all time? Stan Musial. Why? Stan the man. 3,600 hits. So I think that's number 4. I think he's 4th on the list. That did it for me. 3,600 hits, 1,900 runs, and 1,900 RBIs, and 331 lifetime. So across the board, Stan, if you add his numbers, is he a better hitter than Hornsby, Speaker, Williams, Wagner? He got more hits. His average is lower than Speaker, Williams, Ruth, and Hornsby. I'll give you that. But he produced with runs scored 1,900 and RBIs he produced 1,900. You get 1,900 RBIs. Look at Williams had 1,800 RBIs, Wagner 1,700, Hornsby 1,500, Speaker 1,500. Why doesn't Speaker, Hornsby, and Wagner have 1,900 RBIs? Because Musial, when the men were on base, brought him in. That indicates to me that he's a better hitter. 331 lifetime, indicating that he kept playing and playing and playing. So as a result, toward the later years, maybe that average was up there. Then it came down as he got older. These other guys played long too, and they kept their average high. 345 for Speaker, 358 for Hornsby, 344 for Williams, and 342 for Ruth, and they played until they were 40. But I got Stan Musial, number 2, as one of the greatest hitters of all time. You can argue with me. You could say Williams should be 2. You should say Hornsby should be 2. Even Wagner. Maybe, in my opinion, I would put Gwynn number 2. But Gwynn didn't produce on the runs and RBIs as some of the other guys. My opinion, though, Gwynn, one of the greatest hitters of all time. 3,100 hits. 20 years. And toward the end, he just played sporadically in his last season. He just pinch hit. He could have, if he was healthy, played 2 or 3 more years, he'd probably be up to about 3,600 hits. And he would have batted 400 once. So again, the top 10, maybe you can switch around a little bit here, like Willie Mays. Where would you put him? I put him number 9 because of the 302 lifetime. Even though Aaron's 305, I put him 4th because of the production on the runs and the RBIs. And the hits, 3,700. He had more hits than Mays. You got to put Aaron above Mays. May not be fair. Mays may say, hey, I'm a better hitter than Aaron. And Aaron will go, wait a minute, I got more hits than you. And I have a higher lifetime batting average than you. And Aaron say, I have more home runs than you and I have more RBIs than you. And what is Mays going to say? Mays will say, I hit 4 home runs in 1 game. Did you? And I hit him over the wall farther than you did. So you can debate on that. Ruth, he can make him into the conversation, say, wait a minute, what about me? I'm the best hitter, home run hitter of all times. I did it 500 games less than Aaron. Aaron beat me in home runs, but it took him 500 more games to do it. So Ruth can argue, hey, I'm better than Aaron. And Ruth can say, hey, look at my 342 average. But then Aaron will go, well, wait a minute, I have 3,700 hits and you only have 2,800 hits. What's up with that? Well, Hornsby will come in and say, wait a minute, I've got 358 lifetime. Don't I beat all you guys? And they go, wait a minute, you only had 2,900 hits and 1,500 runs and 1,500 RBI. Why didn't you produce more RBIs? Ruth will go to Hornsby, wait a minute, I've got 2,200 RBIs and you only have 1,500. What's up? So these guys can fight it over. Williams will go, wait a minute, I've got 342 and I missed 3 years. And they'll say, well, we thank you for serving in the military. You're patriotic. But the facts are that you only have 2,600 hits, Williams. And he'll say, well, I have 1,800 RBIs. I produce when men on base. And I'm 344 lifetime. So Williams, but Speaker will come in and say, wait a minute, Williams, I beat you. I have 345 to your 344. And I have 3,500 hits and you only have 2,600. But Williams will go, well, wait a minute. I have 1,800 RBIs and you only have 1,500. I have 1,500 runs scored. Well, Speaker go, well, wait a minute, I have 1,800 runs scored. Cap Hansen will come in and go, wait a minute, I have 3,400 hits. But everyone will say, well, wait a minute, you played in the 1880s, 1870s and 1880s. We're playing in the present day. So the old schoolers can fight with the new schoolers. Gwynn will say, I batted 300 or better 19 out of 20 years, and I did 19 seasons in a row. So he'll say, I'm 338 lifetime. And they'll say, how come you only have 1,100 RBIs, Gwynn? And Ruth and Aaron will go, I've got 2,200. And Musial will go, I got 1,900. So these guys can go back and forth, back and forth. But you know who's laughing on the sidelines at all the debate among the top 10 and even the top 30? Some of the other guys I talked about in the 30, Crawford, Fox, Beckley, Gehringer, Burkett, Delente, Keeler, Wayner, Terry. Bill Terry will say, I batted over 400. Billy Hamilton, Jarek Jeter, I've got 3,400. Yaz, I got the Triple Crown. Harry Heilman, I batted 340 lifetime. Sisler, I got 257 hits in 1 year. Dan Brothers, I batted over 400. Nap Lajoie, hey, I was over 400 too. Eddie Collins. Lou Gehrig will say, I've got 23 grand slams. Pete Rose will say, I've got the most hits. And everyone will go, how come you only lifetime 305 or 303, whatever it was? So everybody's debating who's the best, who's the best. But the guy laughing on the sidelines is who? The sidelines. And the guy who just points his nose at everybody else and say, I'm the greatest hitter of all time. This guy comes up to everybody, shows them his bat and says, my name is Ty Cobb, and I have 12 batting titles. Nobody even comes close. All the rest, closest guy has 8. Wagner and Gwynn, you have 8. And Rod Carew has 7. Williams has 6. Musial has 7 batting titles. And Ty Cobb says, also, I can boast I'm a member of the 4,000 hit club, 4,189. And I remember of the 2,000 runs scored, 2,246. And I have 1,944 RBIs. And I'm not even a home run hitter. And my lifetime batting average is 366, which beats Hornsby by 8. I beat Speaker, I beat Williams, I beat Ruth, I beat Aaron, I beat Musial, I beat Mays. I leave all you guys in the dust. My name is Cobb. I have 90 baseball records. I leave all you guys in the dust. I'm the best hitter of all time. 366. I batted over 400 3 times. And out of 24 years playing, I batted over 300 23 times. Does anybody want to match records? Let's have a debate. I'm the best. Ty Cobb. So what do you think? What do you think of my list? Top 10. Tony Gwynn, Willie Mays, Tris Speaker, Roger Hornsby, Honus Wagner, Ted Williams, Babe Ruth, Hank Aaron, Stan Musial, and Ty Cobb. Do you like my order? Who would you put? You can't debate number 1. 366 lifetime, and he played 24 years. He had 3,000 games, and he still got 366. So you can't debate that. I think you can debate 2 through 10, and you can switch around. Do you like Stan Musial, number 2? Who would you put number 2? You could maybe make a case for Roger Hornsby, 358 lifetime, but he only had 2,900 hits. You could make a case for Tris Speaker, 3,500 hits, 345. You could make a case for Ted Williams, 344 lifetime, but only 2,600 hits. You could make a case for Aaron, 3,700 hits, which is number 3. But he's 305 lifetime. You could make a case for Pete Rose being the best hitter of all time. 4,256 hits. Played 24 years, but I think he was 303 lifetime. Let's look it up. I'll look up Pete Rose. What was his lifetime batting average? Because if he's in the argument here, the greatest hitter of all time, what was his lifetime batting average? Pete Rose. 303, I was right. That's the factor. If other guys are batting 340, 358, or 366, 358, 345, 344, 338, 342, 340, then Pete, why weren't you up in that area? The reason he played 3,500 games and had 15,000 at-bats. That's why. If these other guys had 15,000 at-bats, I think their average would be lower, but they didn't. Anyways, I've been opining on the greatest hitters. What do you think about the honorable mention guys? Who would you put in the top 10 from the honorable mention? You know, you got to think of Willie Keeler and Billy Hamilton. They were pretty good. Derek Jeter, Harry Heilman, 340 lifetime. Let me do this. Let me go over this again. As far as guys who could be in the top. So you got Derek Jeter, 310. Lou Gehrig was 340 lifetime. Mel Ott, 304. Eddie Collins. You know, Eddie Collins could be in the top 10. Look what he did. 3,300 hits, 333 lifetime. Nap Lajoie, 3,200 hits, 338 lifetime. He could be in the top 10. Jimmy Fox was 325 lifetime. Al Simmons, 334 lifetime. Could be top 10. Paul Wainer, 333. He's probably arguing. What about me? Paul Molitor. He's arguing. Paul Molitor was 306, but he had 3,300 hits. Who else who would make a case for the top 10? Jake Beckley, 308. Charlie Gehringer, 320. Chipper Jones was 303. Sam Crawford, 309. Goose Goslin, 316. Roberto Clemente will say, what about me? 317. Frankie Frisch, 316. Frank Thomas, 301. These are lifetime. Jesse Burkett, 338. You know who could really make a case is Harry Heilman, 342 lifetime, but only 2,600 hits. Rod Carew, 7 batting titles, 328. He could make a case. Willie Keeler, 341. He can make a case for the top 10. Zach Wheat, 317. Vladimir Guerrero, 318. Roger Connor, 316. Fred Clark, 312. George Sisler. He's really mad. 2,800 hits, 340 lifetime. Luke Kaplan, 310. Dan Brothers, 342 lifetime. He's saying, what about me? Ed Delante also is in there. Joe DiMaggio didn't play enough. 325 lifetime. Joe Medwick, 324. Henny Manouche, 330. Joe Cronin, 301. Ennis Slaughter, 300. Jim Botley, 310. Pie Trainer, 320 lifetime. Joe Kelly, 317. Larry Walker, 313. These guys have a case. Kiki Coiler, 321. Billy Hamilton, I mentioned him, 344. Sam Thompson, 331. Mike Piazza, 308. Richie Hasburn, 308. Eddie Roche, 323. Kirby Puckett, 318. Johnny Mize, 312. Chuck Klein, 320. Joe Sewell, 312. Bill Terry, he has a case, 341. Earl Averell, 318. Billy Hamilton, 304. Lloyd Wainer, 316. Archie Vaughn, 318. King Kelly, 307. Bill Dickey, 313. Hank Greenberg, 313. Didn't play enough. George Kell, 306. Earl Combs, 325. Buck Ingwin, 303. Mickey Cochran, 320. Frank Baker, 307. Elmer Flick, 313. Fred Lindstrom, 311. Hack Wilson, 307. Ernie Lombardi, 306. Huey Jennings, 312. Jackie Robinson has a case, 311. Didn't play enough. Chick Affley, 317. Ross Youngs, 322. All these guys, 300 lifetime career batting averages. Some of the other guys, Frank Robinson, some of those guys were below the 300s. Didn't mention them. What do you think? Do you like my list? Greatest hitters of all time. All right, I think enough spouting off. Baseball Players Hall of Fame. I'm not doing the present day players. Some of those guys are good hitters too. It's subjective. I just wanted to put together a list and see how it turned out. Okay. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. I'll do some more episodes, do some more opining. Baseball Hall of Fame. Thanks for watching. And I am out.